Welcome to the Boom Bap Kingdom. Yo, peace. Welcome back to the Boom Bap Kingdom. I was thinking, the other day, it would be dope if I kind of walked you guys through how I chop up drums. Me personally, I chop up my drums and create patterns that my intent is to try to emulate a break beat that I would find on a record, but I've chopped it up, played my own pattern. I might take a kick from this record, a snare from that record, a hi-hat from that record, put it all together, make my own kit. What I really want to talk about, right, we got to get to the point here, is boom bap. Obviously the boom is the kick, the bap is the snare, right? What makes that fluid? So I wanted to just do a quick video. I might stretch this out to a two-part. I think today I'm just going to show you guys how I chop. Now there's a bunch of ways to do it, right? You can auto chop. You can use the regions where you load the sample and you trigger the sample, and then you go, as the playhead's going across, you're hitting the pads, and it's, slicing wherever you want the slices to be. You turn that into a patch or a program, etc. There's all these different ways, right? Me personally, I do everything manually. I don't auto anything, and I don't use that playhead method where I'm going across the pads. That's just not me. I prefer to manually chop up my own kicks and snares. I think that just makes you a better producer, makes you better at making beats when you rely on yourself. And the other key is that, and you'll see when I get into the pattern part, sometimes the making mistakes actually makes your stuff sound dope. So you can have dope mistakes. As opposed to making everything on the one and trying to make everything perfect. It's cool to kind of make a couple of little mistakes here and there, and then you incorporate those mistakes into your production. So what I did here was I just loaded up a couple of breaks, and I'm going to kind of explain how I would chop that up and why. Typically anything outside of an SP1200 or even the 2400, the S2400 for that matter, anything outside of those, I'm doubling up my kicks and snares. The reason why I wouldn't do it on an SP or the S2400 is because the way those pitch, you just don't need to, in my opinion. The way they pitch, the kicks and the snares, just you could get them to a pitch that's just so ill that they really hit hard and they crack hard. With MPC and other machines, I find that even if you're pitching them just one kick, one snare, sounds kind of weak to me. So I always double up. And then there's another key why I double up, and I'll get into that when I discuss patterns in the next video. Today, let's just discuss how we chop things up. I have a break here.
Kingdom says it's time for some drums.
And then I have another break. Alright, now my intent is to make my own kit. I also have a hi-hat and another hi-hat. So me personally, when I'm in an MPC type of world, the MV, the Force, whatever, I'm doubling up kicks and snares, and I'm using a minimum of 2 hi-hats. I like a thick one and then a smaller, tighter hi-hat. And then in some cases I'll have an open hi-hat. Now, the trick to getting dope boom bap drums is there's 2 main tricks. One main trick is when you're chopping, you want those accent notes coming behind the kick and the snare. And that's going to be really important when it's time to play your pattern. The other trick is finding the right pitch. I think a mistake that some beat makers, producers make is they chop out a kick and a snare and they don't pitch it. They just leave it the way it is. But from the cloth I'm cut from and the era I'm cut from, you're gonna hear the drums, they sound more rugged. When you pitch those drums, they have a different sound. The transients become different, especially if you're on a 1200 or something. But all these machines nowadays, you know, with the lo-fi filters, the 1200 MPC60 emulation that they come with, you can really get your kicks and snares sounding really, really nice. So what is an example of that? I want the kick from that one, I want the snare from that one as well, right? So the kick, let's work on that. So we're gonna listen and we're gonna see which kick sounds dopest to us. So you heard it, I want that one. Now the reason why I want that one is because if you look and listen, you're going to get a hi-hat after that kick hits. And that's what we want. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for that. We're looking for the kick, but we're looking for the hi-hat. And I like that that's real, it's dirty and gritty, and I like that. So I'm going to truncate. I'll probably zoom in just a little bit and get better at the start. Okay, and then I'm going to truncate that. And then we'll probably shave off a little bit in the end. But if you listen, what we're going after is the boom and then the accent note behind it. And this is going to make a big difference when we get ready to chop up the snare for the snare. I'm going to put a little bit of air on the end of that. Right, I'll truncate that again. And I'll make sure that that sample is in, it's a one shot. Right? That's what you want. You want it to be a one shot. Now let's go back to the, we're gonna go to the snare now. Actually, let's keep going. We'll carve out the other kick. So when I set up my drum kit, I like it to be kick, kick, snare, snare. Okay, so let's chop out the other kick from the other break. So I already heard it. I know the one I want. So we can take this one here. And if you look, you can see that's a kick and that's a hi-hat. So we're going to take that one. So now let's just go ahead and truncate that. Now obviously there's other stuff that I could be taking from that break, and that's why if you look up here, I kind of copied these breaks to here, okay? Just so I have them and I'm not destructively editing them. I can always refer back to them later. Okay, so now we have this kick. And we can always normalize that too, bump it up. And then we have this kick. And if you notice, they both have ghost notes or accent notes coming behind them. All right, meaning you hear a kick and a hi-hat. Now we're going to do the same thing with the snare. Now in this particular break, there's the drummer plays a note where he gets a nice pop and a ringing sound on the snare. When you could find stuff like that in the break, you want that. It really, once you pitch that, it's gonna make a beautiful sound in your drum. So let's listen for that. Did you hear it? So let's get to that. Right there, okay? And there's also a ghost note coming behind that, or an accent note. Alright, so we're going to take that. So far we have. Okay, and now we're going to get one more snare because, like I said, I like to double up. Alright, I already heard it, so we'll take this one. Alright, and let's just zoom in and tighten it up. Now if you listen, you're getting the accent note, which is the hi-hat, but you're also getting some of that reverb and some of that air that the original player captured in the studio. You want that as well if you can get it. Okay, and then let's just truncate that. Now what we can do, in Machine, it's a link group. In MPC, you're layering. Right? So we're gonna do a link group with these kicks and these snares, and then we'll go from there. And let's pitch. Now that pitch may change after you do your link group or your layering. They may not sound well at that pitch after you've linked them or layered them. So that's cool, you just go back and you just fix it. Now you get the idea, right? Now you see why those accent notes are so important. Because now as I play these pads, we're starting to get into it. The drums just sound fluid. They sound like a break. That's the secret.
The Boom Bap Kingdom
Boom Bap
says
drums.
that's
it's
official.
having the accent notes and the pitching. And then obviously the source. You really want to try to get them off vinyl, you know, chop them up yourself, you know, dig in the crates, because that's going to add that little bit more grittiness when they come off of vinyl and then you've pitched them and chopped them yourself. Boom Bap drums for the Boom Bap Kingdom. Next time, I'm going to show you guys some common Boom Bap patterns that you may want to learn and add to your toolbox. So I appreciate you guys for tuning into this one, the Boom Bap Kingdom, how to chop up drums. As always, peace, like, share, subscribe, stay safe.
BBK salute.
Peace.